Hey, easy.
Everyone who plays video games knows what a glitch is. When the game isn't ending like it should, the cracks in the code, the seams start showing, the character freaks out all of a sudden, or an NPC is breaking its pattern, these are pretty obviously glitches. Over the years, people have taken notice of these flaws in the games, and they've used them to their advantage. Notably, to duplicate items or to sequence break the game to get areas you're not supposed to. The latter has been used a lot, especially in speedrunning. So some glitches can actually be helpful to a lot of people, depending on the circumstances. And glitches have also been a way to make a game seem spooky. You see EXE games all the time where the game starts glitching or acting weird to spook you. It's basically become a cliche at this point. Any way you look at it, glitches are not only common, but sometimes they're celebrated for what they can do. But you have to remember, glitches are flaws in the game's programming. The developers never intended for you to do these tricks, but you're doing them anyway, for your own benefit. While it's true some glitches can be helpful, some glitches can also do the opposite. Sometimes, the code can become so screwed up, they actively harm your gameplay experience. Glitches that can stop you from progressing, glitches that can wipe your data, or even glitches that make the game completely unplayable. And that's what we're here to focus on today, to show you that some glitches can be helpful to your experience, and just as many can hinder it. To show you it's not all sunshine and rainbows when it comes to flaws in the program. As the video goes on, the consequences will get more and more severe. Brace yourself. These are the nastiest glitches in games.
Do you think I actually go to some kind of mushroom kingdom, Luigi?
I could exercise you. This could be your phys ed. Cheat on your man, homie. Ah! Try to sneak through the door, man. Can't make it. Can't make it. The shit's stuck. Out of my way, son! Door stuck! Door stuck! Please! I beg you!
Why are you playing a game? The common answer is to have fun.
If it's not fun, why bother?
Well, another common answer is to win. Most, if not all people, play for the enjoyment of the game, but their main goal is to be the victor, to come out on top.
And I just won.
Now, what if a glitch prevented exactly that? A glitch that halts your progress dead in your tracks and you're forced to start from scratch.
No, wait, Patrick!
The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword on the Wii. Around the second half of the game, you decide to do the Thunder Dragon quest first, to get the Zelda MacGuffins. There is a Goron named Golo who is researching the dragons and gives you some info on them. You speak to him once, it's fine. Speak to him again, the game is over. For simply talking to this guy twice, the game triggers some sort of flag that does not let you finish the other two Dragon quests, making it impossible to finish the game. Nintendo became aware of this glitch extremely fast and were quick to let everyone know. They even made a whole Wii channel to fix this glitch, since the Wii didn't have the ability to patch games. So yes, an entire Wii channel was dedicated to fixing this, all because you tried to be nice and talk to this guy. This is why you don't have any friends, you bastard. Metroid Other M also had a glitch that was very similar. There was a door that if you decide to backtrack to a save point and heal, would stay locked and it would not open no matter what you did. You were stuck here forever. But unlike everything else in this video, this is actually a really helpful glitch because it physically stops you from playing any more Metroid Other M. Sometimes it's because something refused to load in or work properly. A Bubble Bobble game on the DS had a nasty glitch where a boss would not load the level and never would, and it affected every single copy of the American version of the game. If you remember Burgerland, you could not complete the game because of it. True Crime Streets of New York, specifically the Xbox version, had a boss fight you could not win. The boss loaded in properly, but he was literally impossible to defeat. Anytime you grappled him, he would immediately recover a split second later, and there was no legitimate way to beat him. The only way people were able to get past this boss was by using cheat codes. Imagine having to use cheat codes to beat your game. Though, as you can see, these can range from all sorts of problems, with things not loading in properly, or event flags not going off when they should. It's pretty obnoxious, especially in cases when you have to restart your save from the start because of it. But when it hurts the most is when it happens near the tail end of the game and you can no longer go any further. You were right there at the finish line and you're halted in your tracks. Sonic Adventure 2, specifically the Dreamcast version, had a nasty bug in some copies. When playing the final level Cannon Core, you switch between a bunch of different characters to try and stop the cannon from firing off. When you get to Eggman's section, the floor would not load in, and when the section started, Eggman would fall again, and again, and again, and again, over and over, with no way to stop it. Trapped in a loop, and there was no way around. If you have one of the copies of the game that did this, this is where your playthrough ended. Even licensed games weren't free from this. There was a Dexter's Lab game on the Game Boy Advance, which, from what I've heard, is a pretty lengthy game, and on the last level,
you have to repair a sink with a wrench. Upon doing so, that wrench you need to progress disappears thanks to a glitch. Yes, you are soft-locked and unable to beat the game. That is a key item gone.
The only way to fix the glitch was to have your copy of the game sent to a now defunct game company and have them send you a fixed version of the game, which wasn't even guaranteed, mind you. Even in some of the best games ever made, sometimes these glitches would peek their head. Luigi's Mansion also had one that, albeit is extremely rare to happen, still existed. When fighting the last portrait ghost, you were given a key to access the final boss. If you leave the room for any reason, if you come back into the room, the key is gone. And if you save before picking it up, you do not have the clearance to fight the final boss. This is where your game ends. If you couldn't tell, most of these are from the days when patching games wasn't really a thing. If this kind of bug was in the game, you were just sort of stuck with it. If one of these appeared in a modern game, it would be patched out within days. But these were also when the internet was a luxury and not just something everybody uses now. That means if you were encountering one of these, you likely thought you were just doing something wrong, that you missed something. There must be a way to get further. But that wasn't the case. You just simply encountered a flaw in the game and had no clue you did. There was no way of getting past any of these. If they had the ability, I have no doubt in my mind the devs back then would have fixed their data and patched these. But sadly they didn't, so this is what they're left with. So, what's just as bad as having all your progress halted? Why, how about having all your progress erased? A glitch that renders all the time you wasted. It's like you never played it at all. One of the first widely known cases of a game ruining your saves was Grand Theft Auto Vice City. There being multiple places for you to save your game in Vice City, one such place was an ice cream factory. Except not really. Because if you saved your game at this one very specific location, your save data was corrupt and everything you've worked on is now gone. Rockstar was quick to notice. This was eventually fixed in later releases of the game, thankfully. Any game franchise was subject to this type of glitch, one such being Soul Calibur 3, a fighting game. The game created unique save data on your memory card for its mode, The Chronicles of the Sword. But this is very special save data, and it's also extremely finicky because of it. If you did any management on your memory card for any save data made before Chronicles of the Sword, if you moved, deleted, or did anything to them, then the next time you try to play it, that'll teach you to manage your memory card. Losing save data is something that occurs even to this day in modern games. Neo had a glitch that wiped out your high-level characters. Smash Bros. Ultimate had a bug where if you downloaded the damn plant, it could potentially delete your save files. And of course, there are plenty of save deleting glitches caused by the god of glitches himself, Todd Howard. Fallout 76 is a buggy game. Everyone knows that. The 33 million people who watched the fall of 76 know this. One of the many glitches in Fallout 76 was caused by the Bethesda launcher itself. When the game was in beta, the launcher Bethesda people wanted to use would suddenly delete the entire beta by sheer chance. And this caused Bethesda to tweet at a ton of people to not use the launcher until things were fixed. You can't make this shit up. God bless Todd. There's only so much I can say about this type of glitch in particular. Like, there's only so many ways I can say how a save can be deleted without it getting repetitive fast, so I'll keep this one relatively brief. But there is one more case I want to talk about, and depending on who you ask, this might be the worst glitch in the video. We're going back to the PS2 for this one, and this one involves a demo disc. Specifically, a demo disc released by PlayStation Magazine for the holiday 2004 season. There were a slew of demos on this thing. The one of interest here is Beautiful Joe 2. Now let me just say, I love Beautiful Joe.
Head to the go-go, baby!
But I'm thankful I never touched this demo. This demo lives in infamy. I think more people know about this glitch in this demo than they do Beautiful Joe in general. If you played this demo of Beautiful Joe 2, it would crash. You were kicked back to the PS2's home screen. Nothing seems out of the ordinary. That is, until you look at your memory cards. Any memory cards that were inserted into the PS2 when the demo crashed have been reformatted. Everything is gone. It's one thing to have save data from one game erased, but to have the data for all your games be erased, that is next level. That is something you will never forget. And yes, this did affect some people. And Sony did make a response, and by response I mean they shrugged their shoulders and went, "Sucks to be you!" So these glitches reduce all your hard work in games to nothing. What could be worse than that? Well, how about reducing your purchases to nothing? The only thing worse than wiping out a save game is wiping the game out entirely, rendering it completely useless. Yes, glitches like this do exist, and they are not to be messed with, at least on physical games. There are glitches that can affect the game's code to a degree it makes it impossible to play anymore. Probably one of the most well-known glitches of all time is Missing Note from Pokemon. A glitched Pokemon that would duplicate items and corrupt your Hall of Fame, but then tear the game world apart depending on the circumstances. It can indeed make your game unplayable if the stars are aligned. Almost everyone who played Pokemon back then knows about this glitch, and it's still referenced to this day, mostly due to how mythical it is. And yes, there are other glitches like this in other games as well. A glitch that sounds fun to play with, but can ruin your game in the process. Another example being Donkey Kong Country 2. Near the end of the game, there is a level named Castle Crush, which is a vertical auto-scrolling level. There is a barrel in this level that you can throw against a wall and are able to pick it up again right as it breaks. Diddy is now holding a stack of PS5 games, and when he throws it again, anything can happen. You can change into a completely different character. You can rocket into the air. It seems this barrel just has the ability to make anything happen. Eventually, the game will give in and crash, and when you restart, it can have major consequences. This glitch can delete your save data. and at worst, it can corrupt your save to a degree where when trying to start the game up from the save selection screen, it completely crashes the game, making it impossible to ever get past the title screen ever again. That's what happens when you play with fire. It's fun at first, but then everything catches ablaze. So, a barrel was able to completely destroy a copy of Donkey Kong Country 2. But how about something even more ridiculous? How about Age of Empires? No, not the PC version, the DS version. There we go. Age of Empires on the DS had an extremely nasty bug that was very easy to set off. If you entered a name that was 3 characters or less on your save file, then the game would completely shit itself. It would crash, delete saves, and even completely break itself. How does that even happen? And apparently, it was so difficult to fix, they couldn't even do it. All future copies of the game just came with a piece of paper telling them not to put in 3 characters or less. How a name entry can affect the game so much, the world may never know. Game design is truly an enigma. And to once again prove how complicated this stuff can be, we're gonna look at...
All of this just works.
Damn it, Todd, again? Looks like we're going back to Bethesda. Specifically, we're going to be looking at Skyrim, or actually, the PS3 version of Skyrim. Now, this version is already a buggy mess to begin with, but that's every version of Skyrim. But the PS3 version has one quirk that is not seen in any other version of the game. This version of the game has a major memory leak issue. The more times you save the game, the save files start to stack on top of each other, and as they did, the game's frame rate started to lag, and the further it went, it got worse and worse, until it became an unplayable slideshow. This was a major problem for PS3 players of Skyrim, and eventually, it did get patched, but not entirely. Some people still reported it lagged even after the patch, but really, who's playing the PS3 version of Skyrim anymore when there's like 50 million alternatives now? If I wanted to, I could fill the entire video with Bethesda games, but I don't want Daddy Todd getting angry at me, so I won't. Todd-sama. I kneel. You have to have some serious spaghetti code to have glitches like this even happen. To glitch a game so badly that it completely breaks the copy you're playing. But now that we've gone through 3 different types of glitches in this video, how much worse can these glitches get? How can you get worse than destroying a copy of the game you're playing on? Well, you'd be surprised. You'd be very surprised.
半端ないぞ半端がないマジやめろやめろやめろやめろこれだけはあかんって
Getting stuck at a section of the game. Having your data wiped. Having your game break itself. What could be worse than all of those? Why, how about having the expensive thing you're playing on get affected by the game you're playing? These glitches are extremely rare, but they exist. Oh, do they exist. The original Metroid on the NES had a password system that affected the game's variables. How many upgrades you have, how far you were into it, etc, etc. But really, you can put anything in this password screen, like the Justin Bailey code that let you play as a green-haired Samus. But then people started finding out you could put other things in this password system, and the effects they got were unbelievable. The most infamous being the code, "Engage Ridley, motherfucker!" This code is designed in a way it tells the game it's been on for several hundred years, and as a result, it completely tears the game apart. It can crash emulators, it can have you stuck in an endless loop, but most notably, if you played this game on the 3DS through Virtual Console, it's been reported this code can brick your 3DS. This glitch is too powerful. The only thing I'm going to be engaging now is my bank account to buy another 3DS. Sticking with the theme of aliens in space, EVE Online, I know it's not a console game, shut up, had a notorious glitch after an update was made for it to improve its performance and graphics. What was meant to overwrite some data in the update also happened to delete the PC it was on's boot file. As in, the file needed to start your operating system up was completely deleted, and now your PC was a complete paperweight. Sticking with PCs, but going back in time, to 2001, a Dungeons & Dragons game called Pool of Radiance, Ruins of Myth Drannor was a Baldur's Gate clone from around that era, but this one had a special feature. And that special feature being, if you got sick of the game and wanted to uninstall it, the game not only uninstalled itself, but deleted everything on the drive it was installed on. Meaning if you install it to the root of your PC, then everything is gone. Damn, losing your data on a console is bad, but imagine losing everything on your computer because you didn't like a game. That's next level. And this is still something that can happen to this day. Remember Anthem? The game places started selling for a penny because everyone stopped caring about it? Reports came out shortly after it released, it started crashing and breaking their PS4s. And the only way to fix it was to turn your PS4 on in safe mode and rebuild the database. But really, that can also lead to the fact that consoles these days can get bricked by just looking at them wrong. It all started with the Red Ring of Death, the gold standard for shoddy console builds.
What the son of a bitch? What the? Oh my god!
And nowadays, one finicky internet connection and an update later, your console doesn't work anymore. It really feels like the more advanced consoles get, the easier they are to break. Such is the way of technology, I guess.
Mario, it's new Super Mario World. Everything's different. There's water in the sky, Mario, and there's blocks everywhere. Yoshi coins.
Glitches are never going to go away. They will always exist in games, and people will always find them. And sometimes they'll use them to their advantage, sometimes they're spooky, sometimes they're funny, and sometimes they can screw you over. They come in all shapes and sizes from all sorts of devs and consoles. But remember, kids, what is fun and entertaining for you is a headache and shame for the developers. Take that for what you will. God bless, like and subscribe, and good night. I'm not going to pretend to crash again. I already did that joke.